Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday. I think you know what that means. Tuesday Training with Tony. Man, we got a great episode today. It is episode 7, which is going to be subconscious selling. We got a good friend of mine on today. Man, I'm super pumped to bring him on. Just a couple of quick announcements, though, before we get rolling. Remember, be like Johnny Knit a fan, right? Let us know who the comments are. So let StreamYard, or let Facebook, I should say, view your StreamYard comments. It's a real simple click. Knock that out, right? And then you're not anonymous. I know who you are. Makes it a little more fun that way, right? Because then you can't just troll me anonymously for no reason. So, but without other than that, I should say, right? It's a crazy time in the insurance world right now, especially if you're in my space, the Medicare space. There's a lot going on, right? We got AEP kicking off. Everybody's going gangbusters. I see people putting up their numbers, how much business they're writing. You've also got the open enrollment period for ACA is just around the corner. So this is, fourth quarter time is a big time if you're a health insurance agent. If you're not a health insurance agent, well, maybe you're not as busy as some of the other ones, but, you're still out there doing your thing and writing business. And we've got a smoking guest today. I met this gentleman about a little over 2 years ago. It was August 2020. I was at a Power Players event in Springfield, Missouri, Spring Vegas, as they might call it. And we had about 25 guys together. They're all hanging out, doing some team building, getting to know each other, relationship building, so forth. We coached each other up half of the day. And then the other half of the day, we competed, played pickleball, water volleyball, all kinds of good stuff, and just really got to know one another. And I met this guy. And I remember the first time I'd seen him was on video. Right? We meet so many people nowadays in a virtual sense first, meet him on Facebook, we see him on YouTube, whatever. And I saw this guy on a Cody Askins interview. I was like, man, I don't know what else I have going on in my life right now at the moment, but whatever I do, I have to meet this dude face to face because he just struck me as extremely interesting, extremely knowledgeable, and definitely one of those people that I wanted to get close to, learn from, and hopefully build a good relationship with. And thankfully, over the last couple of years, we become buddies. We don't get to hang out as much as I would like to, but we're good friends. We have our wives like each other. They're both Hispanic, which certainly makes the relationship really good. But something I've learned from this gentleman is that he is an absolute master of sales language and the art of sales, so particularly in understanding how the subconscious mind works on not only you, the agent, but also the consumer, and the different type of language you can use to help tap into that subconscious and kind of run it. So he's an absolute master of sales, master of art, great coach. As a matter of fact, he was just on the Ultimate Agent. He was on first season as one of the coaches, and then he just went on tour with them recently. I'm kind of curious to see if he's going to be a coach on season 2, but let's go ahead and get him up here, man. He's my good buddy, Nate Auffort. He is a Symmetry partner, agency owner, and the owner of SWAT Financial. What is up, my friend? How are you?
What is up, Tony Merwin? I was hanging out backstage, buddy. I guess, in StreamYard. I was looking for like the popcorn and the things back here. I'm backstage. Yeah. What's going on backstage? No one else is back here except me.
There's not much backstage. It's still kind of bleak. We're trying to get some celebrities to hang out back there to kind of, make it a little prettier, maybe set up a green room or something. But
I was thinking, where's the green? Where am I virtual? I was in my same office I always was. Like, you're backstage. I'm like, oh, backstage. And I guess it's still my office.
Absolutely.
I love you to death. I think you and your wife are just two of the most amazing people ever. Just you're always showing up for everybody, whether you have any financial gain in their life or in the business, and that shows me who you are as a person. You're one of my hands down most favorite people, and just such an encourager, you're the type of guy you can pick up the phone and call any problem that you're having, any challenge that you're having, and you see it. What I love about you is that you're not the guy that goes, oh yeah, I can see that. You see everything from both sides or all sides. You're great. I don't know if I ever told you that, but like coming to you to get your opinion on something, I know I'm going to get it straight. I'm not going to get it based. You call people up to give you opinion. Oh, yeah, I feel so bad. Oh my gosh, you're right. I can't believe that happened. No, you're like, I get it, but boom, and you're like, wow. So it's like you have a good lens of what's going on around everybody, and you're able to still, be compassionate enough that people want to keep coming to you. So I think that's an awesome trait to have, man. Awesome trait.
I appreciate that. Well, that's been a great show, everybody. Thank you all for coming.
Yep. So we'll see you guys next time.
Oh man. So what's going on up there in Frisco, Texas, dude?
Everything, man. Like I don't know, man. I feel like I'm in health insurance or open enrollment, whatever that means. I guess that's when people can get Medicare or Medicaid. I don't know. I sell general life. I sell, mortgage protection. I'm a pretty simple dude, right? But we got a lot going on. Our team is blown up right now. I always said fourth quarter is when I got started in this industry 8 years ago. I got started in November, December, and I was able to go out and have a very successful month and a half where everyone else I felt like was sleeping in my side of the business, life insurance. They're on vacation. People, it's the holidays. Can we wait till after the first of the year? I tell people, hey, wait till after the first year. I said, absolutely. You know what? Let me see. You're going to be number 425 on my list here after the first year because everyone wants to wait till after the first year. Listen, why don't we just go ahead and get this set up? What better Christmas gift can you give to your family knowing that you protecting them in case of a death, a disability, critical illness, something were to happen? And I would just use it for urgency. So when I went out and wrote $50,000 in annual premium volume my first month in the business, that was back in the day, Tony, we were driving around to people's houses.
Mm-hmm.
Hour, 2 hour ways, getting paper applications,
faxing
them into the home office. I'm like, what? And we're like, can you send me a smoke signal maybe? And then I'll send you some Morse code back when you get my application. It's to see what's happening now in our industry going virtual versus what was happening is just nuts. It's like I know for us, right? And I don't know what industry that you're in. For us, it's just like going, there's this 100-year-old trillion-dollar business that just went virtual for us.
Mm-hmm.
We can go work anywhere now. I don't have to worry about what county you live in because we were generating mortgage protection leads. What county do you live in? Tony, well, I live in XYZ County. Oh, sorry, I can't get your leads, bud. Why not? Well, because we have all the agents working now, or we're out of data, whatever case. I can get someone. I have people in Mexico that are U.S. citizens that are calling in the United States. I got people in Arizona calling in Michigan. And so we literally just onboarded over I know that Cody tells the story. I recruited 60 agents my first, 60 days in the business. And a lot of them quit. And a lot of them had challenges getting started due to the fact that, again, we had a lot of handcuffs on us in our industry, in our business, generating leads for mortgage protection and mortgage data and everything else. Now with everything going virtual, now we're generating digital leads. We're generating, mortgage protection leads still, even though the mortgage market's collapsing, in terms of leads, 43% are down in refinances and purchase. But we've had 2 record-breaking months back to back, which is unheard of what's going on. I mean, we just onboarded 70 new agents, Tony, in the last 30 days.
Wow.
70 new agents. I got a phone call from my company and the lady that's a director of business development. She said, I just want to let you know that we did some research. We had some people come in and we did an audit of everything. He's like, you have and I'm not saying this to brag, right, at all. It's just stuff that my mentor taught me. He's like, you have the number one conversion ratio of a contract coming into a new writer in the company. And I go, really? What is it? He goes, 90%. I'm like, what? It's like
that is incredibly high
that you're getting contracted or writing business because we have systems put in place. And I saw Johnny Nitafan on here. We started working together a month and a half ago. He came out to the house. I flew him out to my house because he had $7 to his name. He was writing a lot of business. He wasn't getting an issue paid. He wasn't writing the right business. He was getting declines. Here's a guy that was hungry, excited. He was on the Ultimate Agent, but he had $7 to his name. $7. I brought him out to the house and I taught him some things about the subconscious mind, how people think, how people react, how people make decisions. And he took that $7. We wrote $33,000 of annual premium volume and issue paid $27,000 of it his first week out here.
Boom.
Wrote 50 grand. It's the second time I've done it with somebody. Wrote 50 because of a virtual world. Guess what? Someone show up to the Zoom. You're on the phone booking another one. You're not stuck in a Taco Bell parking lot 2 hours from your house waiting for your next appointment because you can't drive home. You can't go anywhere. And you're on the phone calling your leads in your car, hoping someone in this neighborhood you can go visit. It's just pick up the phone, dial, book another Zoom, reschedule the one that didn't show up yesterday. So we got him to write $50,000, Tony, his first 15 days, annual premium volume. Our average sale is $80 a month. That's 80 times 12 is 1,000. I just checked the numbers yesterday. His first 31 days, he's written $100,228 his first 31 days in the business. And that is working with me, right? That's the second time. We did it with Josh Wiles too. Yeah. So we're on to something, right? Well, here's the most exciting part. The most exciting part is this month we just started building an agency, first full-time month. So he was in 2 weeks ago last month, first full-time month this month. He already got 7 writers on his team, and he's already over $80,000 of business in his first 15 days. So it's pretty awesome. Yes, how things are going. Things are killing. That's only one of my organizations right now. So I got story upon story. I just saw his name pop up there. So we're excited. Things are happening. I mean, this industry is at its best all the way around the insurance industry. It's at its best right now. And I just can't wait to see what's going to happen in the next 6 months, next year, next 2 years. So
absolutely. Absolutely. It's amazing to see what organizations like y'all's and certainly others that I've seen that are phenomenal at hard work, phenomenal at generating sales, phenomenal at recruiting, just phenomenal at the business, but the old school way. And then you take the internet, which is the great multiplier, right? Put that into their work ethic, their model, their process, and then look how much faster they're growing now. It's nasty, for lack of any other better word.
It's insane.
So
insane.
Awesome. Well, my understanding is that you're here to coach some of these guys up on kind of the understanding of subconscious selling, how the subconscious mind works, some of the language and vernacular that we can use to help keep our prospects interested and close more sales, right?
I guess you're using a lot of big words for it, vernacular. I'm not sure we will cover that one. But, I don't know. You reached out and asked me if I'd be on the show, and I said, "Hey, you've seen me talk. You come to my training. What do you want these? What do you think that I could be best teaching and be able to help pour into people?" And you talked about the subconscious selling. And first off, Tony, yes, it's not my stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like this is stuff I got coached and mentored, which you met my mentor by a gentleman who's making $1 million a week net. Now, when you're making $1 million a week, I mean, he was back in the day when Garth Brooks was out there heavily touring, and then Siegfried and Roy, before they got ate by their tiger, they were in Vegas. He was smack in the middle of both of them for money earners in America at his prime. Garth Brooks was doing, I mean, it was just insane. But the reason he was so good is that because he taught me so many things about the human brain. And now if you study any type of neuroscience, the neuroscience is backing up all the things that he taught me about the brain, how people think, how they operate, how people want what they can't have. They move towards things that move away from them. They only value what they pay for in time and money. And if you think about it, most salespeople are constantly moving towards their client, trying to sell them, trying to recruit them, whatever the case may be, instead of moving away. And if the brain right now, if you know about the crocodile brain, the reptilian brain, I think we've all heard it. It's like you have that fight or flight. So most salespeople aren't bad salespeople. They just trigger that fight or flight instantly when they open their mouth. Instantly when they start going at somebody. Instantly when they start, assuming the sale to me is not assuming the sale. Tony, today we're going to go out there and start. Once we get past this, we're going to fill out an application. Let me just go. I mean, that's whoa, hey, where are we going, right? Assuming the sale to me, what I was taught is assume the sale in your mind. The sale is already made in your mind. But a lot of salespeople take that assume the sale and they do their sales pitch as if like the client should already be wanting to sign up and they don't even know what the heck you're talking about. And that's the first huge trigger for fight or flight because that brain's going, whoa, danger, danger, danger. What he's talking about filling out application. He's talking about when we proceed here. I'm not even sure. I want to think about it. I'm not sure. We all done it. I mean, how in the world can you go to a car lot, pull up with your family, packed in a car lot, and you see it all the time. They get out and they go, hey, can I help you? Oh, we're just looking. Really? You're just bored on a Saturday? I've never been that bored or just bought a new car, got in my car, drove around to car lot after car lot, just looking. They're looking for a car to buy.
Absolutely.
But the sales guy came at him and they're fight and flight. Went, well, just looking. We've done it, right? You go into a store. Yeah. Oh, hey, good. Welcome to our store. And then someone goes, let me know if there's anything I can help you with.
Yeah.
Go, yeah, actually, I'm looking for versus, hey, can I help you find something? Oh, no, just looking.
Yep.
So those are some things that we can talk about a little bit today, Tony. I'm not really sure. I mean, it's totally up to you how you want to handle, back and forth. Or if you're
the floor will be yours shortly. So, but it's funny you mentioned that. Hey, just looking. I worked when I was right out of high school and in college. I was working at Sears selling electronics back in the day when Sears used to be a place to go for electronics. Now they're out of business.
Yeah.
But that used to be a place to go buy your big screen TV or your new rack stereo or whatever you wanted. But I remember
it was a good place for creative financing too, because it's the only thing you could get a Sears credit card, buy something, bring it back, and they'll give you cash back. That's trying to help finance my business when I first started. back in my 20s. So I loved Sears.
I had thought of that. But yeah, one day we're sitting there, me and one of my coworkers, Gary Gibbs, we're sitting on point. And this elderly couple comes by, and this is back in the day at DirecTV. Like we had the big DirecTV end cap. We're hanging out in front of it, trying to sell that crap. And elderly couple walks by, and he says, "Hey, anything I can help you?" And they go, "No, we're just looking." They just do that, just looking. And Gary, because he kind of has a bad attitude, mumbles under his breath, like, "Yeah, looking pretty stupid." And they heard that shit. Oh. They turn around. What did you say? He's like, "Nothing," and just scrambles off. But yes, it's a natural thing. Anytime you go into any retail store, like you do it, I do it all the time. Hey, sir, how are you today? Welcome to Men's Warehouse. Anything we help you find? Nah, I'm just looking.
Yeah,
I am just looking. I'm just looking for a suit to buy today. Can you help me find it?
Exactly. Yeah, but don't think about that. So
100%.
Good old Sears. You gotta love Sears. Yeah.
Well,
see, back then there wasn't. A lot of things were cash-based types, and I couldn't get real credit because my credit was shot, and Sears was a store card. So I went in there and got a store card for $5,000, went out and bought a lawnmower, a bunch of other stuff, then returned it all. And they would give you cash back out of the register. So I was able to get, $5,000 cash. Help start my business. Buy some products.
That's pretty smart. That is clever.
I could do a class on creative financing if I'm going to go that route today.
I'm going to let you choose, but I would really like to see or hear, kind of what we chatted about before, some of the subconscious language, understanding some of those different types of phrasings, the different wording that you can use and the different kind of overall vernacular and style that you got to use to really get your client and you on the same page, right?
Yeah, I'd love to talk about that.
Awesome. Well, with that said, sir, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, I'm excited to be here, guys, and thanks for having me on, Tony. I might start my little timer here, so don't go too long. I don't want to, hog up your show here, brother. So if you hear the timer beep, that means my time is up. But I'm not gonna take a lot of time, guys. It just, I was taught in sales. A lot of salespeople come in here and they say sales is a numbers game. And I've always disagreed with that because sales is only a numbers game if you don't have the skill on how to communicate to that client. Because if you go through enough people, the thing is that you'll get sales. I mean, sales can be a numbers game, but wouldn't you want sales to be not a numbers game? I got involved in this business and I had a 100% close ratio, if you even want to call it a close ratio, but 100% close ratio in this business. For every home that I went into when I started in the mortgage protection business, I would come out with an app or 2 apps or 3 apps, depending if I got the husband and wife together, or husband, wife, and the children. And, I have an audio called Getting an 80% Close Ratio in a Home, which talks about the different steps to a negotiation. But really what it boils down to, guys, is being able to create a realization in the mind of the buyer that they need what you have and they'll buy whatever you are selling. So if I can create a realization in the mind of the buyer that they come up with the conclusion that they need what I have, whether it be an opportunity, a product, life insurance, health insurance, whatever the case may be, and they come to the conclusion, hey, I need what you have, they'll buy whatever you're selling. But most people don't understand that. You got to ask the right questions to make them have and make that decision on their own, as opposed to you coming at them trying to sell them something. You're first off asking their questions and be able to pull out that need, right? Pull out that reason why they filled out the lead. What are they dissatisfied with their current product or service that they have? I've used this in network marketing, was able to make millions of dollars when my mentor taught me. I then took it to the mortgage industry, made a lot of money in the mortgage industry for a very short period of time, sitting in a cubicle. I was fed up after 6 months, but I probably made close to $500,000 in 6 months in the mortgage company, the subprime mortgages. Then I took it into the credit card processing industry, and I made millions of dollars in the credit card processing industry. And then now I've taken it into the insurance industry. So, I mean, those are very different industries. If you look at it from network marketing to, mortgages to, credit card processing to insurance. So whatever, humans are humans and our brains are our brains, right? And a lot of things that my mentor taught me about how to create that realization in the mind of the buyer, he talked about that. And a lot of you guys have heard this stuff, right? But he talked about that the people make emotional decisions, not logical ones. And I'll prove it to you, right? If you're in a relationship right now, male, female, female, whatever relationship that you're in, I'll just use my perspective. When I met my wife, I made an emotional decision, right? Wouldn't the logical thing be down and say, hey, can I have a list of your ex-husband and all your last boyfriends? I want to sit down. I want to interview them. And I want to find out what they liked about you, what they didn't like about you, what they couldn't stand, why you're not together still. What would their like, logically it would make sense, but we don't do that, right? We see her. I'm like, butterflies go off in your tummy, right? And you get all emotional. You make emotional. Oh, it just feels right. Oh my gosh, it feels great. And then logic sets in, and then that's when divorce happens, right? So the same thing in sales is that people make emotional decisions. I'm not saying to get them crying, but our brains developed in 3 different stages according to neuroscience, or if you study it, right? You have your reptilian brain or the crocodile brain. That's like the fight or flight, right? That's like either you're going to want to fight or I'm going to want to run from it, right? And then you have that midbrain or that limbic brain, which is the emotional and the feeling part of your brain. And then you got your neocortex, which is the rational and thinking brain. Well, everyone I know in sales, when they start teaching, it's like they're selling to that rational thinking brain, but they're being blocked out by the reptilian brain, right? It's the initial filtering of any incoming messages, that crocodile brain, right? It generates most survival fight or flight responses. And it creates, right, a strong basic emotion as well. Strong basic. It's like fear. Oh my God, I'm afraid. Very basic, has very limited possibility of brain reasoning, if that makes any sense, right? Doesn't have a lot of capacity to make any type of decision except for that fight or flight mode, right? So now you have your middle brain, your limbic brain, which comes next. It houses the emotion, it determines the meaning of things, and it kind of rationalizes social situations, right? And then you got that neocortex, which really in reality, people make a decision based upon emotion and they back it up by the logic, right? It's the problem solving ability of the brain, right? It deals with the complex issues, produces answers using a reasoning. So when you're marketing to that brain and you're trying to talk and sell to that brain, you'll get a certain group of personalities that their emotional triggers don't really make that decision. And that's where the sales come in. Oh, it's a numbers game. But if you can tap into the emotion, you get past that crocodile brain and you can tap into that emotion, that's where you got the sale made, and you can back it up then with your logic. See, like only probably 5 to 10% of my presentation has any logic and reasoning in it, where I talk about the product and what makes sense. And most sales guys, it's 90% of their presentation. Right? So if you look at neuroscience, not Nate science, neuroscience, we got to get past the crocodile brain to get through to the midbrain to get to the neocortex. And if we don't, everything that we're saying is completely unheard. It's useless, right? And so people go, how do you do that, right? Well, the crocodile brain, the fight or flight brain, right? It doesn't see anything really unless it's new or exciting. It ignores it if it appears dangerous, right? And it's activated, right? So if something's not new and exciting, right, it's not going to get past that crocodile brain. Think about it like Tony. I don't know if you're backstage. I think you went off, but think about when you're driving, right, ladies? You know, you're putting your makeup on, you got your cell phone in your ear, you got your coffee in your hand, you're driving with your knee, your radio's pounding. All of a sudden, you see detour. What's the first thing you do? Oh my God, I gotta call you back. You put your coffee down, you throw the makeup on the seat, you turn your radio down, right? I mean, like you ever lost, you're looking for a parking spot, you turn the radio down. Isn't that funny? Like, what's a radio have to do with whether you find directions or not? Because you've been on this road all day, every day to work, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for how many years? And all of a sudden, boom, road closed, detour, and you're like, whoa, now what? Now you're pulling out your phone, looking at your map. Where am I going? Right? It's something that's new. It's something that's different. It's potentially dangerous, right? So it's like, wake up, midbrain. You better pay attention, neocortex, because we got to process the situation and know what to do. So if you come across, right, if you come across salesy, if you come across pushy, if you come across too assumptive, you're going to get stopped in your sale, and they're not listening to you, not willing to even listen to what it is that you're saying. Now, you can script this any way that you want based upon the industry that you're in, right? Like I said, when I went 12 weeks utilizing the stuff my mentor taught me, it was nothing more than, people want what they can't have. They move towards things that move away from them, and they only value what they pay for in time or money, right? So I would sit down and I would talk to my clients, and I would just very, very basically just say, hey, Bob, Sue, I'm not here to sell you anything. I don't have some magical product in my bag I'm going to pull out and sit here and try to convince you to buy, or some incredible pitch to give you to persuade you to buy what I have to offer. In fact, if you sat here and begged me to do this, you can't buy anything tonight. It's something you have to qualify for. And unfortunately, not everyone does. Right? And Bob, Sue, I've been doing this long enough to realize that there's no one-size-fits-all product. Everyone has a different, unique situations they're looking to get coverage for. What my job is to do here tonight is to, most importantly, is to find out what those needs that you have are, right? Then see if we can even qualify for what we have to offer to solve these problems. And what I was doing there, I was just kind of disarming them. Listen, I don't have anything to sell you, right? I'm not here to sell you anything. I don't have anything bad, magical thing in my bag I'm going to pull out and convince you to buy. Even if you sat here and begged me to buy this tonight, it's something you got to qualify for. And unfortunately, not everyone qualifies for what it is. And I'm not even sure that we can even help you, right? I just got to find out. I've been doing this long enough to realize there's no one size fits all product. Everyone's needs are different. Situations are different. And my job is to find out what those needs are and see if we even qualify. We have to offer to solve your problems, right? And so what I'm doing in that situation is I'm disarming them, right? I'm getting past that crocodile brain. I'm different than all the other salespeople that are out there. I'm going to be interested in why they filled out this form or this lead card and what was going on in their mind. And I was taught, what does your life look like with this product and what does it look like without? If I can get them to paint a picture, not me paint a picture for them paint a picture of what their life looks like. Because obviously there's a need. I'll talk about this. There's a need. I had to create that need in the credit card processing business by getting a statement from them and showing them all the different fees they were charging and create doubt in their mind. But in the industry I'm in now, when I'm buying a lead of someone who has a need and interest for mortgage protection or some type of general life product or a burial policy or an IUL. They've reached out to us. Right. So I already know they have the need. So that makes it very simple. I just got to uncover it, make them comfortable enough sharing that need. Hey, why'd you fill out the form? Oh, we just got so many of them. I thought I'd throw it in there and just see maybe, what it was. It's a lie. It's not true. It's not why I filled it out. I get lots of junk mail, tons of junk mail from from Dish Network. I've had DirecTV for 25 years. I've never filled it out because I was so stressed out because I got so much junk mail. I have an 850 credit score and not any debt to my name except my mortgage, which is almost paid off. And I still get letters in the mail for, Upstart or YouGo or loan this or loan that, or we'll start your business. I never got so stressed out because I got so many of them. I mailed them back in to find out what 22%, loan interest rate really looks like. I never did. So when I get, well, why'd you fill out the form? Oh, I just got so many of them. I thought I'd just send it back or, I don't know. I was just kind of curious. I just want to see what the numbers are, how much it's going to cost. That's all that pushback of just looking. That's that crocodile brain that you're triggering some type of resistance from them because you're not allowing them to get past that by being someone unique, being someone different, being someone of authority that they respect. So the crocodile brain expects someone of authority, right? All I want to do is figure out how do I get past that by letting them know I'm not here to sell you anything, right? I'm not even sure we can even help you. My job is just, I'm licensed with 35 carriers and 400 products I have access to. My job is to shop around and find out who's going to offer you the most amount of coverage for the least amount of cost. And then we see if you qualify for it. You got to qualify for it both medically and financially. Right. So what I'm saying, Bob, we won't have that answer until we submit the application tonight and see if you qualify, if that makes sense. Right. If I'm saying something like that, it allows the crocodile brain to let the information through to the two parts of the brain that act on the motion and ultimately decision-making, right? So what have we done here, right? There's four basic things I've done here where I've come across non-threatening, right? I have nothing to sell you, okay? Then I talk about, even if you sat here and begged me and paid me $1 million a night, you can't, it's something that you have to qualify for, and unfortunately, not everyone qualifies, right? Even if you want this, you can't have it until you've earned it, is what I'm saying. Even if you want this product right now, you can't have it until you've earned it. So what am I doing? I'm moving away from them. So now you've activated their wanting what they can't have response when you were moving away from them. Does that make sense? I'm utilizing the F word here, fear of loss. People are more motivated by fear of loss than they ever are by the gain, by desire of gain. They're more motivated by fear of loss than they are desire of gain, right? And when I tell people, hey, I've been doing this long enough to realize it doesn't matter if it's your first day, first week, first month. I've been doing this long enough to realize. You're establishing credibility right there. You're taking the stance of somebody in authority right there, right? And then I talk about, in the part where I say everyone has unique and different situations they're looking to get this coverage for. What my job is to do here tonight is to, most importantly, is to find out what those needs are, right? And see if you can even qualify for what we had to offer to solve those problems. You have a problem. I have a solution. The only way to solve your problem that you might have, or not maybe where you even have already, is through me. Detour. So I'm like, no, everyone's different. Right? They may not know they have a problem. They just thought, hey, I got a mortgage protection form. I want to try to cover myself. I have some need for life. Hey, everyone's situation is unique and different. Right? What my job is to do here, most importantly today, is to find out what those needs are that you have, and then see if you can even qualify for what we have to offer to solve those problems. So now I'm stating, hey, Detour, look, we have problems, right? See, the crocodile brain is afraid of almost everything. So something to get past it needs to be simple, clear, direct, and non-threatening from a figure of authority or high status that makes them feel safe in order to pass the information through the other parts of the brain. We could spend weeks, if not months, going over this concept. But for those of you out there, to start utilizing this on a high level, just keep it simple, right? Remember that it needs to be very simple. It needs to be very clear. It's got to be direct, and it's got to be non-threatening. And it needs to come from a figure of authority, not a jerk with high, power, but like just very relaxed authority. I've been doing this long enough to realize, Bob, Sue, I'm not here to sell you anything tonight, right? I'm not here to sell you anything tonight. I don't have a magic product I'm going to pull out of my bag and try to convince you to buy, or some incredible pitch to give you to persuade you to buy what I have to offer. In fact, if you sat here and begged me, you could pay me $1 million and that you can't buy it. I mean, this is something you got to qualify for. And unfortunately, not everyone qualifies for it, Bob, Sue. And I've been doing this long enough to realize that there's no one size fits all product. Everyone has unique situations and they're looking to get this coverage for different reasons. What my job is to do here tonight, most importantly, is just to find out what those needs that you have are and see if we can even help you, if you even qualify for what we have to solve those problems. Does that make sense? And by doing that, you're leveraging everything that neuroscience is talking about the brain to get past that fight or flight response, to get past that crocodile brain. My mentor taught me, I've been teaching this for years and years and years. And this is why I've had to have so much success. See, I got to cheat when I got involved in the industry because I already knew this stuff, right? So I already knew, number one, they filled out a lead. I never worked leads in my life. And number two is knowing this stuff, knowing how the brain operates and how decisions are made and they make emotional decisions backed up by logic. I didn't waste a lot of my time doing a bunch of the sales stuff. My mentor always said, most salespeople come in and they have this presentation already, piled up. It's like a gun. I didn't realize I'm messing up. Probably should have cleaned it up. Sorry about that. They have this gun they come into. Imagine, this is a bad example. We're not killing people here, but the average sales guy goes into a presentation and it's like, it's a numbers game. They have this canned presentation they do every single time. Right? And it works 3 or 4 times out of 10. My mentor said, hey, you know what? All the ammunition that you need is in the pocket of your client across the table from you. And the only way you're going to shoot them and kill them or make the sale is by getting those bullets out of their pockets. And how do you do that? It's by asking questions. Now, we had 20 minutes to cover the first part, how to get past the crocodile brain, right? You want to talk about the next series of how I ask questions, how I paint. So I always say I find out what is on their TV screen, right? They have some movie they're watching, whatever that movie is. I need to find out what it is, and I need to turn the channel to the channel I want them to watch. So by asking the right questions to find out what does their life look like without this product. If something were to happen today, Tony, and you died today, and I'm talking to your wife, what would that look like for you financially? How would that play out on your current situation? So they may have a problem they don't even realize that they have. If you die today, who would be responsible for taking up the mortgage, paying for the kids' college educations, replacing your income? How does that look with what you have put in place currently right now? Right? There's a whole series of things we can spend an hour on going through that. But the simplicity of it is once I get market to that subconscious mind, now I need to make them live their life from their perspective, watching on their TV screen. Wow, most people never thought of that. Before I was in insurance, I never sat down and thought, what would my wife's life look like if I didn't come home tomorrow? Never had that conversation. I want to make them have that conversation together while they're sitting there and be able to put that picture or play that movie. Because if I can make that movie a horror movie, it's very easy for me to come in as a superhero with my cape on and show them, hey, well, let's say that Tony died last night and you had to obviously emotionally be distraught. You lose your best friend, your husband. But if I showed up with a check for $250,000, how would that play out? What would that allow you to do? And I listen to them tell me. And they sit there and they spend the money right in front of me. And if they're spending the money, they're telling me how what I have is the solution to the problem they just admitted they had. How in the world can you not make a sale? There's no closing. There's no objections to overcome. There's no, I want to think about it. I made them feel comfortable enough for me as a person of authority to get into their emotional side of their brain. They're now opening up, telling me what their life would look like or what it looks like right now without the product that I have. This works in any industry. And then what I want to do is I want to then be able to make them live their life with the solution, which I hold, and tell me how that movie would play out. And now they start watching the movie of, wow, this is what that $250,000 will be able to do to me. And as they're telling me, they're spending the money already. And I have this huge need I created, this gap that I created with them. And I have the solution over here. And that solution is going to be my product that they're going to enroll with here, insurance, mortgage protection, and the sale is made. So hopefully that helps with some of you guys. You know, again, we do 2.5 day trainings on this stuff. You know, we dive really deep into this stuff, but you know, I think that's one of the biggest things that I was taught. I was able to teach my new guys is that quit trying to sell and just start, you know, asking questions. And, you know, if I'm a good salesman, Tony, and you're on the side of the road and your car breaks down, you have a flat tire, right? And I show up with a screwdriver, but it's the best freaking screwdriver in the world. It's the most durable, most lightweight, the grip is like from NASA grip on the screwdriver. And I can be the best screwdriver salesman in the world. And I can sit there. You're not buying my screwdriver. You don't need it.
I'm probably going to stab you with it.
You need a little lug thing, whatever you call it, right? I never changed
lug
tire.
wrench.
A lug wrench. I know. I called AAA when or I had a friend do it. My dad wasn't big in mechanics. But if I'm driving down the road and you have a flat tire and I go to my car and I pull out a jack and a lug wrench and I walk up to you and go, hey, we got a problem? Yeah, I have a flat tire. Would this help? Uh-huh. How good in sales do you need to be? Not really. But all these guys are trying to sell screwdrivers to people that have a flat tire. It's like, no, let me ask you. See, I know you have a solution because you wrote in, I have a flat tire. Could you please call me? How can you not make that sale? I have a need for mortgage protection or life insurance or final expense or health insurance, whatever it is. How do you not sell that? You don't sell that because you made them go into flight mode or fight mode. You don't sell because you don't take the problems to find the time to find out what is their real need. And as you have that solution for their need, there's no sale. Lug, wrench, jack. I need that. Okay, here it is. Hey. You know, and so again, it's a different philosophy, different way I was taught, and hopefully that helps some of your viewers and stuff. So,
yeah, no, it's great stuff. You know, and this is, I'm glad you came on because these are some of the things that I wanted to get stirred up in some of their minds. Because one of the things that impressed me, like I met you, I saw this is kind of a lot of the stuff that you like to talk about, which is a little different than what a lot of trainers and sales coaches like to talk about. And so that got me to go to SWAT, where you dive into this stuff in amazing detail. Yeah. Right. We get into role playing with each different question. We talk about personality types, how to identify people so that you can taper your language to that person through these exact tools. So, and do you have a SWAT coming up next year?
I do.
Is that right?
I do. It's going to sell out. I don't say that.
I'm sure it will. It does every time.
Yeah. I don't want more tickets, but we are actually already sold out of the high dollar tickets and stuff. It's May. I was checking it out. May 18th to the 20th. They can go to, I don't know if there's a comment place or chat. I can put the thing in there. Yeah, it's going to sell out. We spend 2.5 days. It's a workshop. It's not an event. I don't hire big time speakers to come in. I actually have people like Tony, people that have actually done things that are training, right? Not just people who are great speakers, or I'm not being offensive to that, or wrote books about stuff. I mean, it's funny. It's funny how many people out there write books and they teach and train and write books and they never did what they're teaching on. It boggles my mind. Like my mentor always said, if you can't do it, teach it. If you can't teach it, write a book about it. Now, no offense to those people that teach it, write books about it, who do it. I'm all for that. But don't teach me how to sell real estate if you never sold it. And honestly, if you had a way to sell no money down real estate, Tony, don't you think that you'd probably hire a staff? You figured it out, right? Like 1,000 people, teach them how to do it, and then start a company doing it instead of selling your book for $39.99. Like, if I really figured out, right? I figured out how to do this business. So I went out and I'm teaching my guys to do the business. I'm teaching them to write 100,000. I'm not writing books about how to do the business when I'm not doing the business. Oh, I'm a legend still I was a legend from network marketing. I don't do it anymore. I don't know. It's different than what I used to do. So I'm not going to write a book about network marketing, even though I did it for 10 years. Back then, I think it's completely different than what it is now. We have the internet
absolutely.
Now. So yeah, so I put it in the chat. It's swattraining.info/events, swattraining.info/events. It's kind of cool. We have a Top Gun theme coming in. So we have the top trainers that give you real strategic wealth accumulation tactics. Like I hope you realize in that 20 minutes, I was giving you real takeaways, things you can actually go use today. Not these big philosophical ideas of what could work, doesn't work, right? Taper that down to your script today. So like you have 2.5 days. It's just, I mean, you've been there, right? It's so different than anything I've ever been to. And my mentor used to put these events on. That's where I learned to do it from. I mean, my first event had 13,000 people in the MGM Grand Theater, packed out. We all paid $3,000 a pop back in the 90s to go to that event for 2.5 days. And what the information I was able to learn from him and be able to teach and cultivate it, like I've done it in the industry. So it's not something like, when Pete Fournier comes and talks, he's done it in the industry. I'm saying, when I have these other speakers that come talk, they've actually done what we're trying to do, whether it be health insurance, PNC, Meta, other parks. He laughs at me. I always say Medicare, Medicaid. I'm not sure which one the government gives you or not, or whatever. Was it ACN open enrollment? I gotta get my health license. I need to start learning this stuff. I always sound like an idiot when I'm in a room full of health insurance agents. I'm the dumbest. I'm the dumbest. Like, people don't believe this, I'm the dumbest insurance person you're ever gonna meet when it comes to insurance. But I have surrounding with a lot of smart people when I come across something that's over my head, which mostly is if it's not mortgage protection or life insurance policy. I have partnerships that they come in and they help the client what they need. I'm great at finding out what their need is, and I can piece them together with people who are smarter than me to help them with what the solution is. So I kind of stay basic. But selling.
One of the things I've always liked about it's one of the things I've always liked about your training, because, and when you've talked about this, SWAT, you talked about this numerous times, but like people get caught up in the granular details of the policy, right? Like the riders and the this and the that, and like no, you're not. Again, you're going to overbore someone with the kind of details, right? Because it's like you said when you opened the show, we continually get caught up trying to sell from our rational brain, right? By hitting people with logic and facts the whole time, and then the over-assumptiveness obviously gets trapped in the amygdala area too, which pushes them away. But I've always liked that. You're like, you don't have to know every in and out of the policy. They're going to get a copy of the policy. Let them read it. They can learn how that rider works. They can learn how this works, or so forth, and how to use the policy later. Your job is to make sure that they have the problem solved and they get what they need. So,
and I know the basics, right? I got living benefits and one doesn't. I know what those are: terminal illness, chronic illness, critical illness. I don't need to explain in detail all of that to the client. I just got to know that, hey, this is something that questions that I ask if something were to happen, and tell stories that I know that's something that can help protect them. Oh, I got a cancer policy. I got AFLA. I got this, that, and the other. Okay, I don't think they're going to need those living benefits. Why charge the client more if I can just get them a straight coverage policy without those? Because it seems like those areas in their life are golden. They're I'm saying they already pay for a Sirius XM plan, so I don't need to make that a pitch on my product when I'm selling the car. They already know what Sirius XM is. They have it in all their cars. They're good. They have a plan. They're hook it up to their radio, right? Just relax. You don't have to open the glove box, to show them that there's 2 cup holders in there. It's just like this most bizarre thing that you see people, even us, when we like, how many times you go buy a car, right? First thing you do, open up the thing. Like, what is in the glove box is going to make us buy? Like, how, like, it's just, we're opening the glove box, we're opening the center console, right? We're playing, like, when did anyone buy a car based upon that? It's just like the brain is so funny. My mentor said, like, someone's brain is like a dog looking for somewhere to pee, and you hold the leash. Right. So most people's brains, we give credit for us being smarter than we are, and we give credit for other people being smarter than they are. We're very simple human beings that we don't like pain, and change is pain. So we want to avoid the pain of change. So I got to make you comfortable with that. We have that crocodile reptilian brain that is this different? Is going to eat it? Like, should I eat it? Should I fight it? Should I mate with it? I mean, that's how the brain would work. They'd see it. Should I eat it? Should I fight it? Should I mate with it? That's how primitive that brain part is, right? And so, like, we give all these people all this, like, credit for being so smart. When it comes down to it, guys, we all just want love. We all want to feel safety, right? We all want to feel compassion. We all want to be around, people that are non-threatening. We all want someone that's of authority to come and help us with something we don't know what to do with. That's why they've reached out. If they knew what to do, they wouldn't have reached out to you. They would have called their insurance dude. They don't have one, obviously, right? And so when I understood all that, and my mentor said, you can't buy the BS. Like, what's coming out of their mouth is not the reality of the situation. So if you listen to what is coming out of their mouth and you argue with it and overcome the objection with it, and I already know what's going on. And so what's coming out of their mouth, back when I was single, I have a boyfriend. Okay. That's why you're dancing with me all night. Right. I know it's coming out of your mouth, but if you are happy, you wouldn't have been dancing with me all night. Does that make sense? I mean, it don't maybe be weird, but like it's the reality of the situation. And so once you start understanding the human behavior and the human mind and the human brain, sales becomes very easy, becomes very simple, because you're not trying to convince them, and you're not trying to turn them into a victim of your incredible sales slice and dice presentation. You're just having a conversation and finding out what their needs are, exposing the needs, rubbing some salt in the wound a little bit. How's that going to hurt? And then bring the Neosporin and the Band-Aid and put it on. That's you. And then it feels all better. Everyone wants the mommy kissing the boo-boo. You're the mommy kissing the boo-boo. So I appreciate having me on today, man.
Yeah, man. I love everything that you're saying. I appreciate you. I love what you do for the industry, and certainly the way you coach people up. And then the event that you do with SWAT. I mean, I'm here to tell the audience, everybody that's seeing this, if you have not been to SWAT, you need to go to SWAT. If y'all know me, I've been to 24 events in the last 10 months, right? It's about 18 or 19 of them I was a speaker at in some form, but I've been to 8. 2 of them were SWAT events. I went to the SWAT last spring, and I went to the SWAT this fall. They're outstanding events. It is my favorite event of all events.
Wow.
Primarily because I get the most personal development, actionable content that I can help me be a better professional, a better human being, a better husband. Like, there's so many things that can be learned at SWAT that I think people are overlooking, which is why I love the event. And it's why I'll probably go to every single one you ever have. So,
we're taming it down to one. Right now, we're taming down to one this year because
right.
I got so busy. So we only got one in next year, which is going to be in May. So, yeah. And like I said, it'll sell out. I know the top dollar tickets are already pretty much sold out. So,
well, I know you posted the link. I'll make sure it's on the Facebook portion as well, so everybody can see it. And guys, I'm just telling you again, man, if you're looking for a great event to go to that's really going to help you develop yourself in a multifaceted way, SWAT is the way to go. I promise you. It's a fun event as well. It is long, it is intense, but it is super fun. Any special surprises at SWAT this year that you might want to allude to?
Nope, not going to allude to them. So
right,
I'm trying not to get too hype. I'm trying not to get too hype about it because I got a lot of people that haven't signed up yet because it's May and they want to come, and I'm like, I don't. It's going to sell out like pretty quick. So I don't think I need to do any tinsel on the Christmas tree because it's going to be Top Gun. Got Top Gun theme, the best of the best. So I'm not going to tell you any surprises we have. I always have surprises, but
fair enough. I thought I'd see if I could bait you into something. All right.
I think that this time around we're going to be even more driven to the speaker quality is always awesome, but I'm really driving it into the best of the people who are actually doing the top in the industry as the trainers. And I only call them speakers, I call them trainers.
Yeah.
I know in the past I've had some speakers come in that weren't in our industry, but were great motivators and great sales things and everything else. And I think I'm eliminating some of that even this year. Because I just want as much content. It's very content heavy, but I want to make it as much content so that like everyone leaves there just going, man, like, wow, like this is stuff you can use immediately. Like I can apply it day one on Monday morning, which you've done. I mean, my life changed when we went through that one segment my mentor did with the different personalities. I mean, to be able to identify someone in little, you can't get out of your head. I think you're always clocking them up. 30 seconds or less, you're like, oh boy, that personality is boom, boom, boom. Here's how they think. Here's how they react. Here's how they market to. Here's how they want my tonality of my voice to be like. Here's how they want to respond to me based upon how they think. They want it done in a methodical way. They want to hear about how much. They don't know how much I know until much of my. They don't care how much I know until how much I care. They just want to get to the point. Like all those things on top of what I just taught. I mean, like it's invaluable. Like you said, family, friends, family, whatever. Dealing with people, they changed my life because in a moment's notice now, unconsciously now, I just do it. I don't even think about what personality are. Right. I don't have time to sit down and give someone a test. No one ever taught me. I took all the Myers-Briggs and all kinds of stuff. No one showed me that within probably 5 seconds to 30 seconds, a minute at max, I can have you, quote unquote, sized up so I can communicate to you in the way that you want to be communicated to. I mean, I never got taught that in school. That was for sure. Or in sales. Yeah. That was life-changing for me.
That was absolutely life-changing. It's life-changing for anybody that goes to that event and sits through that lesson and learns it and then takes it and applies it. Right. You teach it well, number one. But yeah, everybody that I've watched go through that training, like it's fun. It's certainly fun to go the first time. And then I go the second time. And then every time I go now and I sit through that training and I watch people that are going through it for the very first time, and I can't say too much, but it's amazing. It's like a veil is lifted right over their eyes, and now they see the entire world completely differently.
Yeah.
Right. And they become, and it increases their confidence, because now they look at it as like, holy shit, I know how to talk to all these different personality types. Like, I get it. I understand now. And now it's just something I need to practice and put into play. But yeah, like I remember driving home from SWAT, and everybody in my car were all like, oh, well, what kind of personality you think that driver is, or this person or that person. Like, it gets ingrained in you, and then now it becomes a practice that you model constantly. So
yeah,
that's definitely one of my favorite parts.
Me too. That is my favorite part. So we're going to be definitely doing that again. I mean, I always try to cut it out and go, I do it every time. But like, how many times you go to math class? 14,000 hours of school. I went to math class. How many hours of kindergarten to 12th grade? And you still, I'm not a mathematician. I still have to count on my fingers. Right. I'll never forget. I'll leave you with this one. I still have to count on my fingers, right? I took math for how many years, right? So like going back and back and back to learn something, you become better and better. Like I always said, until you can teach at the same level you're learning it at, you haven't learned it. Until you can teach it. And I hand that pen to people who've been there at SWAT 7 times, and that we would all sit there laughing our ass off. What are you talking about? Watching him try to do it, right? So until you can teach it at the same level you learned it at from your instructor, you haven't mastered it. I mean, how many years would it take? I still haven't mastered it because I can't teach at the same level. If you saw my mentor do it, you'd be like, whoa, Nate, like we're a little bit off the course here, because he's the one that did it, right? And I've saw it 100 times. But it was back in the day when I was in made my first like $35,000 check. And I know we're old, so back then they actually paid us with check, guys. All you youngins, like they would write a check and we'd have to go to the bank and cash it, right? And sometimes it was a big check. The bank manager would come out. It was funny because I walked up. It was the first one I did, right? So I walked up to the teller. I had a check for $35,824. Right? I was in my 28 years old, and I had a check from my dad for my birthday for $25, which I tell him to quit sending. Right? So we had to get the deposit slip, and I had to add it up. Right? So with the deposit slip, you'd have check 1, 38,524. Then you'd be like, okay, check 2, $25. So I'm sitting there adding it up, and I'm like, 5, 6, 7. And the lady's just standing there behind the counter. She's like, I look at her like, what? She's like, did I do something? She goes, you're depositing a $35,000 check and you're counting on your fingers. I said, awesome. Yeah, I make more in a month than a math teacher makes in a year. What can I say, right? That was probably a really funny moment where I realized that it didn't really matter that most of the stuff that we learned in school. When do math, I got one sitting right here by my desk because I could do math on here all day long. I got one on my phone. Anyway, so I love doing this, man. I know you're still going to keep it. I don't know if everyone's going to watch and put an hour-long video on here.
Oh, no, they do. You'd be surprised. Well, listen, we are closing on the hour.
If you actually made it all this way, just put watched it all. We'll see how many people actually watched it all. I say 3. We'll get 3 watched it alls.
You got more than that because I have a ticker with the counter up here, so I know.
I'm just waiting for the people to do it. So if you watched it all the way through, go ahead and put in the comments watched it all. I don't think we have any viewers left, so they probably all dropped off.
Yeah, we got at least one.
All right, there we go. Hey, there you go. One life change is all it takes. So, all right, talk to you later, Tony. Appreciate you, brother.
You got it, man. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, guys. We're here every Tuesday. We got an awesome episode coming up next week. But if you get a chance, man, I promise y'all, go to SWAT. The link will be in the comments below. And we'll see y'all next Tuesday.